Hey all, welcome to ShareTrek. This is Raj here. Friends, I bring this video to you with a heavy heart. We need to face whatever is happening in the real world, regardless of however discomforting it might feel. I'm talking about the impact of Trump administration's policy on HIV outside of the US, and I'll also talk about what's happening inside the US. We'll break it down into multiple videos because there's a whole lot of things happening. And I will also have a live stream or a Zoom conference call for just the members so that we can discuss this in a little more detail, and I can take some questions from you if I have not covered certain things and get back to you with answers. That said, I would like to display the disclaimer and then proceed further. Welcome back, friends. The Trump administration's policies have had mixed effects on global HIV/AIDS efforts, and some policies supported international HIV programs while others disrupted funding and access to care locally as well as internationally. Let us start off first with the impact of PEPFAR budget cut proposals. I would summarize it by saying it had limited impact because the Congress rejected the cuts. Trump proposed significant PEPFAR cuts up to $1.35 billion in 2020, and Congress rejected most cuts, keeping PEPFAR funding stable. This was in his first term. And then we also look at the global impact of the PEPFAR action. PEPFAR continued supporting HIV treatment for millions, mainly in sub-Saharan Africa. If cuts had passed, they could have affected ART access to around 15 million people. I'm talking about 2020, right? Now, things can go back to the same status. We could face the same challenges in 2025. So that's the reason why I'm highlighting what happened in the past. Impact of global gag rule, which was expanded Mexico City policy. It had significant negative impact because Trump expanded the global gag rule to block US funding to any NGO offering or even discussing abortion, which means prophylaxis and other things were discontinued for those agencies, and therefore people whom they were serving were left unprotected, and HIV rates could have gone up because of that. And HIV service disruption in many developing countries, as family planning and HIV programs are often integrated, also showed their results in the numbers. Funding losses for major organizations like International Planned Parenthood Federation, which lost 100 million, is a big example. Those things have also had its impact on HIV. Program shutdown in parts of Africa and Asia, particularly in rural and underserved areas, have had a lot of impact. For example, in Mozambique, a major HIV program lost funding because the same clinics also provided abortion counseling. So in order to target abortion, prophylaxis was not provided, and as a result of which HIV rates had gone up. US withdrawal from WHO, in fact, Trump had applied for withdrawal from WHO. They had to give a 1-year notice. And then Biden came in. President Biden decided to withdraw the application. So once Trump is back again, he has again put an application to withdraw from WHO. It will take 1-year notice, and then they will be totally out of it. This will have a limited but direct HIV impact. In 2020, Trump announced the US would withdraw from the WHO, accusing it of mishandling COVID-19 and being too close to China. WHO, as you know, plays a key role in global HIV/AIDS efforts, but PEPFAR and UNAIDS remain the main US HIV funding channels in 2020. Potential impact on HIV because of all this is that WHO provides HIV treatment guidelines, training, and drug procurement support. A US exit could have disrupted global HIV coordination through, and even though Biden reversed the withdrawal in 2021 before it took full effect, we are looking at the same prospects again in 2025 as Trump begins his second term. And the impact of immigration and asylum policies on global HIV efforts is also something that we have to think about, because again, the same effects might be brought to bear. And public charge rule, which is discouraging HIV positive immigrants from seeking care in the US, is also having its impact again in 2025, because the same administration with the same philosophies is back into power, and they would use executive action as well as legislation to bring back all the concepts and policies they had earlier, which were not in favor of HIV control. Now, we have refugee caps and travel bans, limited asylum access for people fleeing HIV crisis in countries with poor healthcare. Those things are again going to be front and center in this new term of Trump presidency, in my opinion. And final, I think if I were to summarize everything for the global impact, I would say that PEPFAR budget cuts limited impact because Congress rejected those cuts. But again, if DOGE continues with its onslaught on the budget, I think that this time around those cuts may pass. And global gag rule, even though HIV programs lost funding, they could have been reinstated if there was another administration, but because it's going to be Trump administration, we cannot hope for much out there. And WHO withdrawal is imminent. 1 year down the line, they will be out. And immigration policies hindered the HIV positive asylum seekers earlier, and it's going to do so again now. And overall, the most damaging global impact came from the global gag rule, which included HIV service access in multiple countries. However, PEPFAR funding remained stable, preventing a larger crisis, but that PEPFAR funding is now under stress. And another important thing is going to be the FDA actions that Trump will take, which are going to create a problem for HIV therapies and ART. I'm going to dwell into more details. I'm still doing my search on it. And this is a ever evolving picture because the regime, the Trump administration does have a lot of policies, but we don't know which one of them is going to be implemented in earnest, which one of them is negotiating chip and can be reversed, and whether it will be reversed 100%, we don't know that. So I'm still assessing everything. And if you guys would like to have a Zoom call, then we could get together in a Zoom call. I would like to collect your questions, because that could make my video much more focused on what you're looking for, and I could bring that information to you. So friends, what I'm basically saying is that at this point of time, we have a very difficult 4 years ahead of us. In these 4 years, we are going to find a lot of funding cuts for HIV therapy research. We're going to find funding cuts for providing ART, and also centers which are managing both abortion, family planning, as well as HIV are going to find a lot of budget cuts, which could result in lack of ART for many vulnerable population, lack of PrEP for many vulnerable populations. So indeed, we are going through a dark time. But on the flip side, just think about this. US alone could not take the responsibility for the whole world. Every government has to step up to take care of their own people. I think that's fair enough, and it's about time that individual governments started stepping up. And I have a lot of ideas of how you, as a person who is suffering from HIV, can help mobilize funding and political support in your own country. If you would like to join me in a Zoom call, we could have a discussion about all that, because it's time for each and every one of you to rally together, form your community locally, and start pushing for what is essential. Otherwise, we can see all this free ART and other things just slipping away. There is this policy called as diversity and inclusion policy, which has been attacked severely in the US, and it's losing ground. Many big companies which are supporting it have withdrawn it. And a part of that is support to LGBTQ and gay and other communities who are vulnerable for HIV. So it's not great news, but it's all the more important that we all rally together and look at what can be done. And even though I do not suffer from HIV, let me assure you, I can feel your pain, because I'm looking at what is happening to research funding, which is going down. And also there are new criterion put for research funding. I'm 100% sure that it's going to affect HIV therapy research. And I'll be talking with academics also about this going forward. But I would like to hear from you. Please let me know if you would like to have a Zoom call, and we'll talk more about it. Thanks and have a great day. Bye for now.